What is up, guys? It's really dark in here, so it actually looks like I'm sort of in the abyss, but I am on my rug again, lying on the floor, coming to you then from the rug, if that makes sense. Right, Flappy Birds, let's talk about that. Everyone was fucking obsessed with this game for a while. I didn't personally see much of the appeal. I played it once or twice, thought it was vaguely irritating, and uninstalled it. However, it seems to have taken a lot of people by storm. These are some of the alternatives I've looked at, just for those of you who need to get that Flappy Birds fix, and I was seeing, sort of, out of the interest, let's start that again, out of interest to myself, if anybody had taken the Flappy Birds formula and sort of changed it around, maybe made it a little bit more interesting, things like that. So the first one we can look at is called Clumsy Bird, and this is a little bit different. It's actually in landscape orientation rather than the traditional portrait one. Now it's got a couple of fun things. Looks very much like the original Flappy Birds, and the premise is damn near exactly the same, except instead of the ripped off Mario pipes, you've got trees, and you tap to fly through, obviously. Now the cool thing about this is it actually has online play, which I'll try to get on. So you can either play casually with your friends, or you can try and get into one of these tournaments. Now I usually get destroyed in these, so hopefully this will be slightly less embarrassing. There's me. There's player 181, good name. Come on. And you do need to have 5 players for this to start, and quite often it... Oh no, here we go. 2, 1, flap. Oh shit, I'm green. Okay, cool, here we go. So as you can see, the fun is, if anything, even more tangible when played in this mode. And I am getting destroyed. Oh, I might actually be able to come second and maybe even win a gem, or whatever thing it is you win with this. You win gems and things from doing multiplayer, and I believe also single player, though I haven't played it enough to actually bother to find out. But you can then unlock items for your bird to wear. There's different coloured birds, and you can customise each one to your liking with sort of headgear and wing gear, and I believe sort of body gear, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can customise it, so it's given that, it's basically taking the whole thing a little bit further than the original Flappy Birds. I'm just going to run this through. Right, and the next one in this amazing list of amazingness is Flappy Pets 3D. This one returns to the old, wow, that is a demonic looking panda. The vertical, sorry, what do you call it? Horizontal, no, what's portrait, that's the word. Portrait orientation. And as you can see from these ridiculously expensive things, the entire premise of the game is trying to get you to either cough up money for coins or to play long enough and hit enough adverts as you go along. So you collect coins as you fly, and then you can buy more characters. The tiger actually looks kind of alright, a little bit weird. Panda looks absolutely demonic as Christ. I mean, wow, just wow. Gorilla looks a bit more like a weird demented fish thing with a sort of rhino feet. The raccoon appears to be floating. The elephant looks pretty elephanty actually, pretty good. The boar looks kind of, yeah, it does look alright. Just realised they actually all are floating, so apologies to the raccoon. The rhino, which looks nothing like a rhino, it looks like sort of an alcoholic shrew or something. We've got the bird, and then we've got the lizard. I'm going to play as the bird. So we're going to fly this thing, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same. You've got rocks instead of your classic Mario tubes or pipes. You've got a load of coins, and the aim is to collect the coins. It's actually a little bit easier to control, I think, than the original, although when you nosedive, you occasionally seem to nosedive sort of indefinitely, so if you pick up enough speed when you go down, seemingly tapping the flat button doesn't actually seem to do anything. But this one's decent enough as these clones kind of come. Yeah, graphics kind of nice. I like the fact you can unlock characters, though some of them are ridiculously expensive. Next one is the trippy one. This is called Flappy Bird. Now there's a couple called Flappy Bird. I'll put links in the description sort of in chronological order so you know which is which. This one is, yeah, it's more strange than anything else. It looks very much like the original, except you've got the pink pipes, but I have no idea what the actual thing is that you're flying around with. It most definitely isn't a bird. I think it looks more similar to the original one, but again, the original one didn't even look like a bird anyway, so that didn't really make anything clearer. Okay, so that's Flappy Bird. As you can see, basically exactly the same as the original, just a bit pinker. Then we've got another one called Flappy Bird. This one again looks very, very similar to the original, has the same sort of scrolling effect, and you've got the married pipes. And true to form, this one is fucking impossible. Really hard, this one. I think my max was 9 and that took me a while to get. But yeah, this one is pretty damn close to the original if you want the frustration, and I think also the graphics and everything look pretty similar to that one. Next one is Silly Bird, which is kind of like the original except with slightly ramped up graphics, and it's actually very, very smooth. I quite like this one. Oh, although the collision system seems to be a bit off. But this one, quite pleasing, quite nice to look at compared to some of the others. Again, really, really hard, which is kind of the point of these games, especially if you're leaning over a camera. I'm going to get past 3 just to prove that I can. Never mind. Last one is Flappy Little Bat, which again is landscape. This one's actually interesting because it's actually got a really nice sort of production value to it, and there's actually sort of a semblance of a storyline. I'm not sure how I can actually get that to replay. I will kill it and then reopen it and see if that helps. There we go.
Once upon a time, there was a flappy little bat, flying back home with its family. Suddenly, magical lights in the mystic forest caught the little bat's attention. While being curious and looking into the forest, its family flew away, leaving him behind, alone. May the magical light guide your path.
Odd inflection on path. So there we go. So actually really, really nice. Music's kind of nice, the ambience of the whole thing is quite nice. This is the only one where I actually recommend turning the sound up a little bit when you play it. But yeah, it's just actually kind of good. It's got more of an indie game kind of feel to it. It feels much more polished than most of the others. Whole minimalist sort of UI kind of thing. And I like the fact they've adapted it, made the whole thing a bit darker. And if I had to say one was my favourite, it would probably be this one or Clumsy Bird. First of all, they are landscape, which I think just looks a lot nicer with these games, especially when you're playing them on a tablet. Second thing is, Clumsy Bird has the multiplayer, so if you are really into it, you can sort of try and prove yourself in the field of battle or whatever you are into on Clumsy Bird. And Flappy Little Bat, I just think the developers done a really good job of actually making it look kind of nice. So yeah, if you haven't got your Flappy Birds fix after this, then post in the description what you're actually using. Post in the description. Post in the comments which Flappy Birds clone you are using. And of course you can just go and get the APK off the internet, but where would the fun be in that? This has been Android at Night. Please subscribe if you haven't seen me before, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ta-da!